Okay, so welcome to your Tuesday edition of Run 'em Daily. I am your host, Harvey Banks. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you may be listening, first of all, thank you. Go ahead and leave this a 5-star rating. Share this with a friend. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe, like, comment, all those fun things. Let these algorithms and these tech companies know that this is the type of content that you like to consume on a Tuesday afternoon when, let's just say this, I had an epiphany over the weekend. I'm very, very concerned about a trend that I see in football. We'll get into that. Also, at the end today, I've got some baseball picks for you because we do have some baseball games today that matters. And I have got a home run pick for you guys tonight, considering that it is Dinger Tuesday and I do celebrate. Just saying. I will see you guys on the other side of the break. Let's get into this. Okay, so like I was saying, I watched a lot of football over the weekend, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but essentially starting since like last Thursday, I've been watching non-stop football between the NFL and college. Had a good heavy serving of plenty of good football and plenty of bad football. And I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, and perhaps I'm not even probably the most qualified person to even bring this up or dive into it, but I am starting to notice a real pandemic when it comes to good quarterback play. Like the sheer volume of good quarterbacks out there seems so low right now that it's becoming like super duper noticeable for me. And I wouldn't say that football is becoming hard to watch. I don't want to sound overly dramatic, but it's hard for me to watch a football game and be 100% like emotionally invested in it, or just it to like pique my interest if I know that a team on offense is completely limited by the abilities of their quarterbacks. And we're starting to see that a lot. I don't know when that breaking point was. I remember, like, I'm old enough to remember the wave of like running quarterbacks. And I'm aware that it was probably like the second wave of it because I'm 38 years old. So like when I say the wave, I'm talking, we're starting at like Michael Vick. I do know that there was guys prior to that were super athletic as well, but they almost don't even count because those dudes, while super athletic and could run the football, were also usually gunslingers. So like that doesn't really play into what I'm saying or what I'm trying to point out here, if that makes sense. So Michael Vick came along and then like introduced like a different level of athleticism to the quarterback position. Quarterbacking started to be played a little bit differently. I think more athletic kids maybe even switched to like, hey, I want to be like Michael Vick. I'm fast. And I normally would be a running back, or normally I played wide receiver, but I can kind of throw the football too. So who says I can't be Michael Vick, you know? And then fast forward a little bit, we had like Cam Newton. And again, I'm glossing over a lot just because this is like a general podcast, but the point kind of remains the same. We go to Cam Newton. We get a lot of these guys that are running, Tim Tebow even, running quarterbacks. And I understand they always say that like football is a copycat league, right? The NFL is a copycat league. Once one team seems to make something work, the other teams are going to follow. And that's a little concerning to me. And I think we might be at the beginning of the damage that was done by the purely running quarterback, simply because part of that formula was always missing in my brain. Like they would call them dual threat quarterbacks and things like that. And I think they mistakenly called guys dual threat quarterbacks that were actually single threat quarterbacks. And that threat was their legs. Like, yes, they could probably stand there and launch a ball 80 yards down the field, but that's not quite what quarterbacking is. that's what throwing the football is, but that's not necessarily what quarterbacking is. Not as much in the NFL. So let me put that caveat on it. When I'm back to this weekend now. Sorry, you guys got to keep up with my ADHD brain. I'm back this weekend. You see it some. I've seen it some in the NFL. I'll get to the Monday night game in particular, but let's start with Saturday. It's 1 in every 2 college football teams. They do not have a quarterback that could competently throw the football, and that's very concerning. And it's making it really, really difficult to watch, especially if you watch a lot of NFL with professionals. You go to watch the college game because I still like college football. I still like the pageantry that surrounds college football, the nostalgia. Like I buy into that. Like if you can give me a good story, or you can give me like a historic, university or something like that, you can get me to watch. But now, like, the football is just not really meeting up to, I don't know. It's almost like the same thing that happened in basketball with the AAU thing. So it got to the point that like AAU came around, and these AAU programs aren't necessarily teaching the game of basketball and how it should flow. They're just like run and gun and get yours. And that can still work, but like eventually once you get to high level, like even like NBA level basketball, or even high level NCAA basketball, once you get into the tournament, you start to see that it was the teams that have the veterans that usually win that thing. And they usually play a really good, structured, sound basketball, and they have a plan. Yeah. So I think that the same thing is starting to like creep over into football. I don't want to pick on Bryce Underwood from Michigan. And so let me give the forewarning that this isn't me saying that he's overrated or he's not that good and he's not going to be a generational talent. I'm not saying those things. I'm just saying that it seemed like, okay, let's be fair. I don't know if Bryce's capabilities is what limited the Michigan offense on Saturday night, or if the coaching staff left the training wheels on too much. It's hard for me to say, because I want to say the first completion that he made, it was kind of from an alternate angle pass that was a dart. Like I was looking like, oh, okay, wait, this kid might actually have it, but I found myself just like wanting more. Like there were so many situations in that game where I was like, okay, now we're about to see. They've got to get into this playbook. They're going to get creative. Give this guy that you tell me is a generational talent a chance to actually make a play. And that just never happened. And again, I want to be fair to him. I don't know whether the coaching staff was operating out of we need to protect this kid because we do know his limitations, or if he just might not have it throwing the football. But my thing is with him too. Hey, if you don't have it throwing the football and you're this generational talent and you're super athletic, which I was able to see flashes of, my boy, you got to be rushing for 100. That's just kind of how that works. So yeah, it's a lot of these guys. College football used to have household names at quarterback, and I'm not talking about like transfer portal stuff because I don't really care about that. But it seems that the dual threat quarterback is really, really starting to be diminished into, oh, he can run and he can hit the little he can throw it out in the flat to the wide receiver or to the running back. He might hit his tight end across the middle, and he might bomb one literally for 60 yards because his receiver has man coverage and has literally dusted the dude guarding him by 8 yards. So you've got like 8 yards to make the radius to make that pass. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if you guys know this. That's actually some of the easier passes to make. So I just want to be clear that I'm talking about the intricacies of actually playing quarterback. I'm not really seeing a whole bunch of it. Fast forward to last night's game. It was J.J. McCarthy's first ever start. It was the second year of Caleb Williams. I do want to be fair to both of them. It's like my overarching thought on this is the same, but maybe the direct examples that I have this weekend aren't the best examples, but I think it's enough that like it could put it into your brain when you go into next weekend's football to just kind of keep an eye out on like, oh, these coaches are coaching to succeed in spite of, not because of. And JJ McCarthy, I'm going to give him the same amount of grace that I gave Bryce Underwood. I don't know that it like in that first half against the Bears, I will say this, boy, they was on his ass. He looked like the walls was going to kind of cave in on him. And he remained poised. I will say that, but I just wasn't impressed. And my thing is, bro, you got Justin Jefferson. Like, I would rather see the kid make mistakes trying to get Justin Jefferson the ball than just playing it super safe and us just not doing anything. And Caleb Williams on the other side of that, I think Caleb Williams is a great quarterback. I think he's going to be really good that can throw the football. We have to remember that he's going into his second season with the Bears and he's on his third head coach. Like, I'm just saying we have to give them a little bit more time to make this thing work. Ben Johnson kind of alluded during the preseason that maybe Caleb was struggling with the playbook a little bit. I will say I did not get that vibe. He did seem to be fully in control of the playbook and how things were going. It didn't look like these concepts and these things were beyond him. It's just his decision making is still a little questionable. But you have to understand, A, he's young. B, he got sacked more than anybody last season. There's going to be some PTSD involved in that. I thought he did get the ball out a little quicker. I know the first 10 completions, I want to say, was literally designed for him to do that, to not take sacks, to these short little routes just to get it out, which I think was it was a good game plan. I think Ben Johnson, I think they said that he scripts out like the first 20 plays. So that makes sense. Now, once you get outside of that script, it got a little shaky because that's when it really starts to rely on the decision-making of your quarterback. And he still had some of that good in him, but some of the things that do make you nervous about Caleb Williams also started to reappear. Going into that game, like the fourth quarter, obviously, JJ McCarthy, like it looked like they took the training wheels off of him and said, you know what, let's just figure it out. We're either going to go down swinging or we're going to make something happen and win the game. He made something happen and went to win the game. I do think he's got that dog in him. I think he got it in him. So I'm anxious to see, how he progresses throughout the season, because it's going to get significantly tougher, especially the more tape that you give for the defense. But all in all, I think he does have something to work with. My only issue is I think he finished sub 200 yards and people are celebrating like they are literally saying the Vikings have found their quarterback for the future. Let me tell you, no, you didn't. I don't think you did, because I give it 6 weeks. And if Justin Jefferson continues to be targeted low and not be able to be used in the way that he feels he needs to be used, I give it 6 weeks till he's running around like AB out there with his shirt off. So I don't know. We'll just wait to see. As a comparison and so we can see the difference of what I'm talking about. Sunday night, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, those are two quarterbacks that obviously that's the top of the top. And I'm not saying that everyone's going to have to get the top of the top to compete, but just pay attention to the differences in game plans. Those game plans, the Bills' game plan is we are going to win games because of Josh Allen. Josh Allen, a true dual threat quarterback. Yes, he can run for 60 to 75 yards on you a game. His size helps that. But Josh Allen can also literally pick you apart from the pocket, right? Lamar Jackson has the reputation of a running quarterback because he can run and he plays quarterback. But I think that gets a little overblown and like misconstrued a little bit, simply because Last season, Lamar Jackson threw for over 4,000 yards. I believe he had 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions or something like that. That's a pocket that's a passer. And I think his passing is underrated. It's what makes the Ravens so dangerous. Now, coaching and losing late games, that's kind of on them. But if I had to guess, like that there's a team in the NFL that can get by with having like strictly a running quarterback or someone that's not really that, great at throwing the football, it would actually be the Ravens. But that's not the case with them. Neither here nor there. That's what I mean by like you have quarterbacks that you can rely on to go win you games, not just you have quarterbacks that you have to plan against not losing you the game. I am seeing a lot of that in place. I will say this, quick advice for JJ McCarthy, a half a second faster. Like a lot of the decisions and the mistakes and like the running lanes you had open last night, if you would have left make that decision a half a second faster, I think you would have been okay. Ultimately, I do think he's going to be okay anyways, but the speed of the game took a little bit of time for him to adjust to, which is expected. But I guess, yeah, my main concern, is I don't know what's coming behind this group of quarterbacks that we have in the league now, because there's Arch. I'm not going to get into Arch right now. I need to see more, but I'm just saying it's a little concerning. And I fully now understand why you pay your quarterback $260-something million a year. Quick update, by the way. We cashed 2 of our tickets the other day. Russell Wilson came through for us, so the phone call worked. Thank you, Russell. Came through in a big way. So did Daniel Jones. Josh Downs let us down. Jamar Chase let us down. By the way, Cincinnati's a whole nother thing. I may do a separate episode about, them as well. But yeah, so not too bad start to the weekend. I did end up putting some, I put a Sunday night same game parlay in and a Monday night same game parlay in. I won them both, but I always feel a way about like having to share same game parlays on here because it feels like irresponsible gambling. I just kind of do it for fun. And but I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe going forward, I'll start to share what I do. And you can choose to, tail it, fade it, do what you need to do. Let's get into some baseball, man. Let's go into some good picks. All right. So as promised, we've got some baseball that actually matters tonight. I'm going to run through these picks pretty quickly because I went way too long on the quarterbacking issue. So, and I want you guys to get out of here and I want you guys to get some value from this. Advice just real quick though, from now probably through the playoffs, when it comes to betting baseball, please do your due diligence and check and see which games actually have playoff implications. You don't want to put your money on a team or a player that's on a team that has nothing to play for. Rotations get weird. These players start to, my back's tight, all these little things. You just never know what's going to happen. Don't put your money there. Take the time in the morning or right before you do your bets. Go into Perplexity or something like that. That's what I use. It's not an ad. And just say, hey, which games have playoff implications, and then make educated decisions from there. I want to start off by giving a gut bet tonight. Like there's not a lot of data that supports this, just my gut and the amount of Yankees games that I watch tells me that the Yankees -1.5 tonight. I got that for +128 over on FanDuel. Yankees -1.5 is a good bet. I think the Yankees offense tonight is going to explode. I've been watching a lot of Yankees baseball here recently just because I'm really paying attention to these lineups. That's like personal reasons. I am a Yankees fan, but I think tonight is one of those nights that, the offense is going to explode. I think the over under was like 8.5. So if you want to go with the over, I don't think you'd be making a mistake there either. These gut plays are important too. Like people in professional sports betting will try to tell you that it's not, that it's all data. Everybody has access to the same data. If you watch sports and you really get into this thing, you might have an eye to see things that the data doesn't always see. So sometimes, going with the gut decision is a great thing. Moving on, let's go north of the border. Tonight we got Toronto and Houston, or Houston's in Toronto. I took the Astros money line for plus 130. Everybody that I like and respect in this kind of industry, analysts, sports bettors, everything. Sorry, somebody opened a door or something. They're all on Toronto. And I get it. Toronto's been playing pretty well. I think they've won 9 out of their last 10 at home, or against AL West opponents, that was. For me, I know enough about Houston to know this, that September comes and they turn into a slightly different team. And I feel like they're in the midst of transforming into that. That's just kind of what they do. I feel like tonight is going to be the beginning of this stretch that they're about to go into to really, really, really kind of solidify themselves as a contender when it comes to the World Series this year. That flows right into my actual third pick, which is Jose Altuve, 2+ total bases. I got that for plus 115. Altuve is another one of those players that he can just go super, super quiet throughout the year and you don't really think much about him. And then September hits and the lights come on and Jose Altuve shows up to fucking do it again. Sorry, I'm not a big Astros fan, but I bet with my head, not my heart. So yeah, I don't have any more words for the Houston Astros because I feel nasty for even giving 2 back-to-back supportive Astro plays like that. So let's go into some fun. Today is Dinger Tuesday. If you celebrate, hey, we're about to have a great one. If you don't, you probably should. I should also give you the disclaimer, don't put a lot of money on this shit. This is just for fun, right? So I have Giancarlo Stanton and Kyle Schwarber to both hit home runs. I parlayed them. There's a 30% profit boost over on FanDuel. I got that for plus 1646. Stanton's due, Schwarber's due. I think tonight both of the big fellas get you one. Take home some extra money. Let's have some fun. Let's watch some baseball tonight. I'm going to get back with y'all tomorrow. We'll have a little bit more football talk, but I promise I won't rant. I promise I'm just playing. I do what the fuck I want to do. Y'all are here because you love it. I'm here because I love y'all, man. Run them daily. Peace.